It's just wild to see so many supposedly democratic countries ban people from using their freedom of speech just because they support the Palestinian citizens instead of the Israeli government. It's like, how can you claim to be about freedom of speech or be a democratic nation when you're preventing people from expressing themselves?
For weeks they wanted to vent their anger over Israel's bombardment of Gaza, but they weren't allowed to. German police had banned most Palestinian protests, citing fear of anti-Semitism.
I feel like in the last 2 weeks people were extremely afraid. They are afraid to go out, wear a kufiya, wear a Palestinian flag. It's dangerous right now in Germany.
A feeling
Well, that's wild. So, because the German government fears people being anti-Semitic, they've decided to oppress a group of people because they support another group of people that's being oppressed. That just doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
that's strengthened by this statement against anti-Semitism published by Bild, Europe's best-selling newspaper, solely directed at Muslims.
I think it is dangerous because it is playing into the hands of the right-wing people, and it's specifically dangerous for people of Arab origin.
The activists say Germany's guilt towards Jews is understandable, but unconditional support for the Israeli government is wrong.
Whatever.
Yeah, just because the German nation has a black mark on their history doesn't mean another group of people should be supported no matter what they do. If a group of people starts killing kids, you shouldn't be supporting that whatsoever. You don't have to support the Israeli government. You can support Israeli people, but the government is totally different.
Whatever Germany does is never going to free them of the guilt of the Holocaust. So the persecutions and the violations against Palestinians that are happening currently are not going to free them of that guilt either, and I think that needs to be understood. I think it makes things even worse. It makes them oppressors once again.
The definition of anti-Semitism in Germany was expanded a few years ago, and besides hatred against Jews, it now includes attacks against Israel, such as expressed verbally or on signs. Some say this vague definition is a threat to freedom of speech, and it gives German authorities an excuse to criminalize pro-Palestinian rallies.
Wow, so just speaking out against a government is considered anti-Semitic. I know in the United States, a lot of people love trying to claim that, if you speak against the Israeli government and their policies and, like, the idea of murdering kids, you're considered anti-Semitic, though there's no laws to, charge you with anything, which is good, because criticizing a government is not racism whatsoever.
Police in Germany stepped up security after Molotov cocktails were thrown at this Jewish community center. They say anti-Semitic incidents have increased in recent weeks.
They politicized the term, and as a Jew, I can be now defined as anti-Semitic, which is something that I'm afraid of personally.
Which is funny, yeah, because if he criticizes the Israeli government, he's going to be considered an anti-Semitic Jew, which is just like, wow. I mean, yeah, I know there can be, Jews racist against other Jewish people, just like there's, black people racist against black people, white people racist against white people, but it's just pretty wild.
As a grandchild of Holocaust survivors, it's frightening.
He is among 100 Jewish scientists and artists who signed a petition calling on the government to stop banning protests. While some rallies are now allowed, many people who support the Palestinians feel they are being closely watched. Step Vassen, Al Jazeera, Berlin.